There are moments in your life when everything feels fixed. The pain feels permanent. The doubt feels endless. The weight you carry feels like it will never leave. You wake up with it. You walk through the day with it. You lie down at night with it. And somewhere within you, a quiet voice begins to whisper, "This is how it will always be." But that voice is mistaken. Time does not stand still. It does not cling to your suffering. It does not preserve your fear. Time moves. Always. The Stoic mind understands this not as an abstract idea, but as a living truth. Everything you feel, everything you face, everything that burdens you, is in motion. No state is permanent. Not your sadness. Not your confusion. Not even your greatest victories. This is not meant to unsettle you. It is meant to free you. Because if nothing lasts, then neither does your struggle. Pause for a moment. Look back at your life. Think of a time when you believed something would break you. A loss, a failure, a deep uncertainty. At that time, it consumed everything. It filled your thoughts. It shaped your days. And yet, you are here. That moment passed. That pain changed. You changed. This is the quiet power of time. It does not ask for your permission. It does not require your understanding. It simply moves forward, carrying everything with it. And here is where your strength begins. You do not need to control time. You do not need to force change. You only need to endure with clarity, to stand firm while the storm moves through you. Because it will move through you. Not because life is easy. Not because you are spared from hardship, but because nothing stays as it is. This truth is your anchor. When your mind begins to spiral, remember it. When fear tightens its grip, remember it. When you feel trapped in a moment, remember it. This too will pass. Say it quietly. Say it often. Not as an escape, but as a reminder of reality. You are not stuck. You are not frozen in this moment. You are moving, whether you feel it or not. And as time moves, so can you. Not by force, not by panic, but by steady awareness. This is where the Stoic path begins. Not in controlling the world, but in understanding its nature. And the nature of all things is change. As you begin to see the truth of impermanence, something shifts within you. The things that once overwhelmed you begin to lose their grip, not because they disappear instantly, but because you no longer treat them as permanent. You begin to see them as passing states. A feeling arises. It peaks. It fades. This is the rhythm of your inner world. Yet most people resist this rhythm. They cling to what they enjoy. They fight against what they dislike. They demand stability from something that is never still, and in doing so, they suffer more. But you are learning a different way. You are learning to observe without clinging, to experience without becoming consumed, to endure without losing yourself. When discomfort appears, you do not say, "This must end immediately." Instead, you say, "This is here now, and it will pass." That single shift creates space, space between you and your reaction, space between the event and your judgment. And in that space, your power grows. Because your strength has never been in controlling what happens. It has always been in how you respond. You cannot stop change, but you can decide who you are as it unfolds. You can choose calm over chaos, clarity over confusion, patience over impulse. This is discipline, not harshness, not rigidity, but quiet, steady control over your inner world. Consider the moments when life tests you, when plans fall apart, when people disappoint you, when uncertainty stretches before you like an endless road. In those moments, your instinct may be to resist, to demand certainty, to ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But the Stoic mind asks a different question. What is within my control right now? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. Your thoughts, your actions, your response, everything else is passing through. When you focus on what you cannot control, you create unnecessary suffering. You fight against time itself. But when you return to what is yours to govern, you regain stability. You become grounded. You stop chasing permanence in an impermanent world. And something remarkable happens. You begin to trust the process of change, not blindly, not passively, but with understanding. You know that difficulty is not a final state. You know that confusion is not your identity. You know that discomfort is not a life sentence. It is a phase, a movement, a moment in a much larger flow. And this knowledge gives you endurance, because endurance is not about pretending things are easy. It is about knowing they are temporary. When you feel overwhelmed, you remind yourself, this is not forever. When you feel lost, you remind yourself, this is not permanent. When you feel broken, you remind yourself, I am still moving. And that movement is everything. Even when you stand still, time carries you forward. Even when you doubt yourself, change continues. So you do not need to rush. You do not need to force resolution. You only need to remain steady, to breathe, to observe, to act with intention. This is how resilience is built. Not in moments of comfort, but in moments of uncertainty. Not by escaping discomfort, but by facing it with clarity. And as you do this, again and again, you become stronger, not louder, not harder, but deeper. Your calm becomes unshakable. Your mind becomes clear. Your presence becomes grounded, because you are no longer afraid of what changes. You understand it. There will still be moments when the weight feels heavy. Do not expect otherwise. Life will test you in ways you cannot predict. It will place you in situations that challenge your patience, your discipline, your sense of control. And in those moments, the idea that this will pass may feel distant, almost meaningless. But this is precisely when you must return to it, not as comfort alone, but as a principle, a truth that stands whether you feel it or not. Pain changes. Even when it lingers, it evolves. It shifts in intensity. It alters your perspective. You are not the same person you were yesterday, and you will not be the same tomorrow. So why assume that your current state is final? Why give permanence to something that is already changing? This is where many lose their way. They attach identity to temporary states. They say, I am anxious. I am broken. I am lost. But these are not identities. They are experiences. They are weather passing through the sky of your mind. And you are the sky, unmoved at your core, untouched in your essence. When you begin to see this clearly, your relationship with suffering changes. You stop fighting every sensation. You stop resisting every discomfort. Instead, you allow it to exist without surrendering your control. You feel it, but you do not become it. This is strength, not the absence of struggle, but the ability to stand within it, to remain steady while everything else shifts. Think of a storm. It arrives with force. It shakes the ground. It darkens the sky. But no storm lasts forever, and the one who endures it calmly emerges stronger. Not because the storm was gentle, but because they did not break within it. This is your task, not to eliminate hardship, but to endure it with dignity, not to avoid pain, but to face it without losing yourself. And this requires patience, deep, unwavering patience. The kind that does not demand immediate results, the kind that does not panic in uncertainty. Patience is not weakness. It is controlled strength. It is the ability to wait without agitation, to act without desperation, to trust that change is already in motion, even when you cannot see it. Silence also becomes your ally. Not silence from the world, but silence within your mind. The quieting of unnecessary thoughts. The refusal to feed fear with endless speculation. When your mind becomes still, you begin to see clearly. You recognize that many of your worries are not real. They are projections. They are imagined outcomes. And like all things, they pass. So you do not chase them. You do not entertain them. You return to the present moment, again and again. This moment is manageable. This breath is steady. This step is within your control. And as you anchor yourself here, the weight begins to shift. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. Because you are no longer amplifying your suffering. You are no longer resisting the flow of time. You are working with it. You are allowing change to do what it always does. Move forward. And as it moves, so do you. Stronger, calmer, more grounded than before.